Hey podcaster, I'm Tim Wahlberg, your podcast performance coach, with another actionable tip so you can sound like a pro and gain more podcast fans. Today's tip is music matters. Do you have a theme song for your podcast? It's okay if you don't. A lot of shows don't have music. A lot of shows don't need music. There are a lot of podcasts that have incredible music. Others have terrible music. It could be too loud, too heavy, too quiet, and then really why even bother? And some just feel out of place, like it doesn't belong. A great piece of music should match your brand and appeal to your target audience. It should also be versatile. When I say versatile, I mean you can use it for other parts of your show, like to transition between segments, create earmarks, sounders, or bumpers, and it can even save you money because you won't be spending more money on more tracks to do all these things. Today, I'm going to share with you how to find the perfect piece of music for your podcast. Can you remember the music for the first season of the podcast Serial? It was just like a few piano notes repeating, prink, 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 but it set a tone. And each episode, it conveyed more and more of this feeling that something was building. And it was a great piece of music, and it was used well. A lot of podcasts followed Serial and tried to use a similar piece of music, but it didn't fit their show. They just were doing it because someone else had success with it. If you have a construction podcast, you're talking to mostly guys, you're not going to use a fluffy, cutesy, ukulele strumming, hipster stomp and clap song that's pretty much run its course, in my opinion. If you have a podcast about becoming a female Instagram influencer for millennials or an ice cream podcast, then that kind of music is perfect. But for that construction podcast, you might want some rock and roll or a little more backbone. But a wood carving podcast, well, you might want something a little more delicate, intricate, or fine-tuned, like a nice acoustic guitar track. It should feel like your brand. My music is more like a fun Austin Powers track. It's quirky, punchy, short and sweet, like my show, not a medieval Game of Thrones song. That wouldn't make sense. I'll tell you where you can find music and how much it should cost in a sec, but here's what to do when you're looking for your magic track. When you go to one of these sites that has royalty-free music, you're going to have to describe the kind of music you're looking for. You can sort by genre, instruments, speed, emotion, or even an artist's name you want to sound similar to, like Snoop Dogg or Johnny Cash. You might use crime or suspense, happy piano, summertime guitar, somber violin, motivational, corporate, inspiring, orchestral. Once you've narrowed the field, a bunch of choices will pop up. And here's where the fun part starts. Don't just search with your ears. Use your eyes to help find that great piece of music. You want to choose a piece of music that has a lot of different looking parts. And what I mean here is when you're looking at the waveform itself, there should be small and big sections, thin and thick sections, a lot of peaks and valleys, and a lot of gaps too, perhaps. Skim through these parts. If you like what you're hearing, start thinking about how you can use these different parts of the track for different parts of your show. If you've listened to this podcast before, you'll recognize little parts of my theme that I like to work in. Maybe I need to get your attention. I could create an earmark like this. Or this. So look for a track that has a few different sections you or your editor can play with. I've been cutting music for over 25 years to make pieces of music fit radio commercials, editorials, documentaries, podcasts, and videos. I'll take a chunk of a track and loop it 2 or 3 times if I need more of it to fit. I'll reverse a section to see if it can be used for a transition or a ramp up into another section. Once you've bought the license or the rights to a track, you can usually do anything you want to it. So get creative. But know that you won't be able to use that track for anything else but your podcast. You can't use that same piece of music for a different podcast or separate YouTube videos starring your cat. If you bought track A, you can only use track A for podcast A, or a promo for podcast A, or even a trailer for podcast A, or even a video trailer for podcast A. But you can't use it for podcast or project B. Got me? Good. Picking the right piece of music for your podcast is going to take time. You're creating your soundscape or sound design for your show. This is something we do with business owners we're developing podcasts for. It's part of our concept to casting program, which, by the way, you can find out more by booking a free 15-minute coaching call with me or by going to podcastperformancecoach.com. This is a customized, done-with-you program to launch your podcast, and building that soundscape for your new show is part of the process. And having another pair of ears when selecting your music really helps because it might take hours or days. Whatever site you're on, and here are just a few: Audio Jungle, Pond5, or podcastmusic.com. Create a profile so you can mark your favorites or save the links of the track so you can make a short list. You can get a great piece of music for a one-time charge of around $30, and you'll be able to use it for the life of your podcast. Sometimes you'll get multiple versions of that track. For example, one with and without the piano parts. Just don't forget your criteria. It's got to be on brand, feel like your show, and appeal to your target audience. It's got to be ear-catching and unique. It's got to have different sections you can use for sounders or transitions to use getting in and out of guests or ads. And one more thing, you should love it too. If not, at least like it. And I hope that's just the tip you need. A quick shout out and a thanks to all those people who have taken advantage of my free 15-minute coaching call. I love talking to you guys. Whether you've been podcasting for a while or thinking about starting a podcast, I love connecting with you. Book your free 15-minute coaching call today at podcastperformancecoach.com. I'm Tim Walberg. See ya!